section on page Kuf Nun Vav. We started a little bit, but it has quite a bit to be expressed. The discussion in general is, we know that there is makif and pnimi. Makif is that which is above being able to grasp by any keli, whether it's seichel or midas or any keli. That's why it's called the makif. Makif means it's surrounding, it's above, it's embracing everything. The makif, in the creation of the world, there are these two aspects. There's the makif for the world and the pnimi of the world. The pnimi of the world reminding me that I have a sheet to write today. The pnimi of the world is that which identifies the various details in the world. Taking a human being as the target, a human being has seichel and midas. Seichel is a particular function, quality in the human being. The human being in general as such includes seichel and midas, and includes all kinds of other organs that are also functional in order to fulfill the human being's needs and intents.
So, could somebody record audio?
What was that?
I'm wondering if somebody could record the audio because it's like it's nothing.
They'll make one. We have a video recording.
Okay, all right.
Which is running now.
Okay. Ultimately, the world, what constitutes world? It is the pnimi. All the various individual qualities that exist that constitute the whole structure. However, this structure is not haphazard. It's not incongruous. There is something that encompasses the entire structure. All the details in the structure are there in order to express the intent and the significance of that encompassment. As for example, this we speak about all the time. For example, a house allows for rooms and different kinds of rooms. And in each room there will be different kind of furnishings. All the aspects that are identifiable in the house on a functional level. Functional level means that is used individually, like a chair, a bench, a table, a spoon, a fork, everything that has a specific function. all of these are conceptually present in the concept of a house. The concept of a house is that which houses a human being. I don't want to go into the deeper aspect of houses and human, but everyone understands. It allows a human being to express himself to the fullest. And to express himself to the fullest means that he's able to bring forth all of his qualities. And therefore a house has different kind of rooms, and each room has different kind of furnishings. All of these are ultimately expressions of the makif that the human being creates in a house. The reason there's a chair, there's a bench, there's a fork, there's a spoon, there's specific reasons for each thing. But taken as a whole, the reason there's spoons and forks and chairs is because this is a human abode. The human being, he is the supreme presence in this house. And from this supreme presence emanate all the other functioning qualities. This supreme presence is first and foremost manifest in the form of a makif. The human being is what he is to himself. The form of makif, this is like a house. This will allow the human being to express himself and to reveal all his qualities. Subsequently, after that the makif has been identified and brought forth, then all the functioning qualities, it's called pnimi. Pnimi, the word pnimi means insiders. And the meaning of the word insider in this context is that they are contained in a keli, in a specific vessel, a completely specific design. It's called a keli and it's called pnimi. It's an insider. It's not something that hovers above. It has it is contained within something, within a content. And then there is the makif. The makif is much closer to the essence than the pnimi. Essence is like, in our example, the human being himself. The makif is much more reflective of the human being himself. The Gemara says, "Adam shein lebayis eni Adam." An Adam, a human being that doesn't have a home, is not in the full potential human being. He's potentially a human being. He's not a human being. And we discussed this between a lot of ramifications. But this is a statement. Adam shein lebayis eni Adam. He does not say any place in the Gemara, Adam shein lekisei eni Adam. Even though a kisa is also a necessity of human comfort. Because the bias is that level that is more closely reflective of what a human being is. It's a direct reflection of the human being. Any other, he loses his whole status as a human being if he doesn't have a bias. In other words, it's a direct reflection of what he is. That's what a makif. A makif is the direct reflection of the etzem, of the essence that you will, that is present there. The pnimi is not the direct reflection, it's used by him. But it's not a reflection, it's not, you don't have a spoon, it doesn't mean that you're not a human being. After having identified this as clearly as tremendous ramifications and depth and so forth, the makif is not something that can be contained in a cave. It always remains connected to the source. Yet, the Rebbe says, there has to be that there is some kind of an influence of the makif into the pnimi. Taking it in our orientation, if we would say the pnimi is the spoon and the plate and the cup that a person uses, these units are functional wherever it is. Wherever you need a spoon, you can use a spoon or a cup. But properly, where is a cup? A cup in a home. And where's a spoon? A spoon in the house, in the home. Where's a chair? A chair, you know. A chair in the city is also a chair, but it's not fully a chair. You can use it out of in an unusual situation. Basically, the chair belongs in the home. This is the meaning that the makif is what begets, so to speak, and reveals the pnimi, and gives content and gives meaning to the pnimi. The makif has even though the makif is much higher, but the makif has an effect on the pnimi. This is what we discussed, and this is the mashal for this. Clearly, these are all mashalim to understand the divine relationship to the creation. We all know, we all understand that the world we're living in, the world that we function in, is a divine creation. We, on our functional level, relate directly to all the functional aspects of the world. We use chairs, we use tables, we use homes. We walk on earth. And we are kind of oblivious to the makif element. What is this all represent? How come there is this entire creation? What's the spirit behind this creation? This creation is divine creation. Hence, we are identifying the two aspects in the creation itself. There is the pnim, there are the functional aspects in everything in the world. The individual K, so to speak, K-lim, functionary and units. Then there is the makif. The makif is that which represents the Creator's thought in the creation, the Creator's presence in the creation. We travel, we go swimming in a lake. We travel in boats, go from place to place. No one will say that the reason there is such thing as a lake in the world, or a river, or the ocean, is so that I can travel on a boat from place to place. The ocean represents part of the whole concept of a world. And so too a lake, and so too a river, and so too a spring. This principle that represents the content of a world, that means that there is a makif, there's an overall significance, overall concept of world, which demands that there be all of these things in it, in order to complement, in order that there should be a real world. Then there are different functional levels that are identifiable. These are limitless, depending on the circumstance. In Russia, as I remember it, in Russia, in the winter, the river served as a passage to walk across the river. You walk on the ice, that's how they used to go. The train used to stop in the middle, and people just disembark and walk across the river. So the river was made to walk on it. It was a sidewalk.
It's ice.
Excuse me?
Ice.
Ice, yeah. Was a very safe thing. This was a common practice. And the train used to stop in a certain. The train station in the middle of nowhere. My father was Sholem, actually had an experience like that. He was traveling. It was still winter, but it was moving towards spring. And he disembarked from the train and started walking across. And boom, the ice gave under his feet. So of course he climbed out, Baruch Hashem, and he got sick after that. Cold water, whatever it is. So you have to know exactly when that is safe passage. But this is normal. But nobody's going to say a river is a highway for walking. The river is a river. It's water, not for ice. So the makif that identifies all the things in the world, this is what gives it a true, full-fledged perception of what this is about. The full-fledged perception of a river coming from a makif is a flowing river, not a nice type of river. So these are all the illustrations of this Indian as they are manifest in the world. But the Rebbe is speaking about, and the ones that we should focus in and understand, in the creation of the world, coming from God Himself, there are two emanations, two divine aspects that are presented in the world. One is called the Pnimi, one is called the Makif. The Makif is that which stays closer to source, which is clearly a divine union. From this Makif, from this divine union, are manifest, are drawn certain functional aspects. These are called Pnimi.
But even the panimi is also a oil. It means this still connected to the source.
The pnimi is so connected to the source, and it's an emanation from the makif. However, the makif is much superior to the pnimi, and what the Rebbe is discussing right now, been for a long time and discussing this principle. It behooves us to understand what effect the pnimi is a specific function. How does the pnimi reflect the fact that this pnimi also has a makif as its source? Like in our example, a chair is a chair. How does a chair reflect the fact that there is a chair in the house? You say, no, it's a chair, it's this structure. The same is in the creation. There are all kinds of different aspects in the creation. But then there is the makif, the divine makif element that gives it presence and gives it spirit. And it is important, the Rebbe says, to understand what is the effect of the makif upon the pnimi. There is no way that you can contain the makif in a cave. Nonetheless, it does have an effect on it. The principle that you already learned this in the top section is that although everything in the world identifies with the pnimi, identifies at its own level, its own functioning level, say, for example, I bring out these examples because you have to know what we be able to focus. We walk on 2 feet. The feet are the pnimi, are the functional parts of the human being that make him able to walk. There's a big difference between a robot walking and a human being walking. The human being is walking, he has a makif, a sense of what walking is. And then the legs fulfill the functioning part of it. He's not walking on legs. He's walking because he has a spirit of walking, of moving. His head is holding up the legs. It looks almost like the head, it's not true. The robot walks on legs. So in other words, even though this is a much higher, this is a makif, but the makif has a full-fledged effect on the pnimi. The pnimi is a different type of pnimi if it has a makif behind it. As manifested, I said in this example, a human being and a robot. Therefore, coming back, the Rebbe says, in the creation of the world, there is the makif, the divine makif element that David wants to create the world. And then there is the pnimi, the specific aspects in the world. There is no way that the pnimi can fully comprehend what the makif is. Nonetheless, we have to understand that there is definitely an influence of the makif onto the pnimi. And the Rebbe says, this is not enough. We have to now identify that influence. How does it manifest? But there is a makif here. So there are many things that were said about this. The emunah that a Yid has the ability of Mesiras Nefesh and so forth. These are all effects of the makif of the neshama. This makif, it's a makif of the neshama. And there's a makif also in the world itself. The reason it's in the world itself, there's a sense what's called, even though everything has its own structure and it stands on its own, like the feet holding out the person, but still there is a certain cognizance that it's not all the functional aspect that's holding it up. In the world, there is a constant, subtle recognition that there's something greater than what meets the eye. The sun rises every day and sets. The moon has its lunar cycle. The ocean has its high tide and low tide. These are all functioning aspects. But this is not the end of it. All of these things that we mentioned are complementary aspects of a whole full-fledged world. A divine creation. And this is why we said there is definitely the effect and the influence, the representation, the cognizance of the makif from within the pnim. This is, in Hasidus, in Torah terminology, it's called the effect of the makif on the pnimi. The lower, in the makif also there are many madrigas. The lower madriga in the makif is called Odom Kadmon. Odom Kadmon. Odom Kadmon means Odom represents a structured world. That's what Odom is. Odom, the human being in contrast to the animal. What is a structure? By definition. Going back to our human being and the robot. Human being, he has feet, he walks on his feet, but actually the feet are being led by the head. It is the head that's holding on the feet. Odom means a complete structure. The world consists of all the various limbs and the various parts. The animal walks on legs, not on its head. You let the dog out, and he starts running. What is it? Just running. He has legs, so he runs. A human being doesn't walk because he has legs. He walks because he has estimation. So Odom represents a structure. Structure means that there is a top, there's a head, and there is a heart. Chochmah, and there's Seichel and Midas, and then there is the Machshava Dibur Ma'aseh. All of these are complete structure, and there's an orderly fashion how one influences the other. That's what a human being is. That's what Odom is. The creation, the overall creation, is in the form of Odom. There is the top, there's the middle, and then there's the functional aspect. all this is first identified in what's called Odom Kadmon, in the pristine level of Odom. It's called Machshava. This Odom Kadmon is what provides the makif for the world. The world is so versatile, so varied, so much, flows all over the place. All of this is contained within one makif perception. Which is called Odom Kadmon. This is the makif for the whole world. There are different levels of makif. This is the lower level of makif. Makif of Machshava, that already relates to that which ultimately comes out in beginning in the world. What is the significance of the fact? This is what the Rebbe says. What is the significance of the fact that all things in the world are originate in the makif of Odom Kadmon, of the Machshava? What's the difference with it originate? It's a mitzvah in the world. This is the same question. What's the difference with the table of origin? It's a board of 4 legs. Everyone understands that's not the case. It's not a board of 4 legs. It's a human concept. And if you go and take a table and break it down, you're not breaking a board of 4 legs. You're breaking a whole concept. This is the makif from which the prima comes. The Rebbe says that it's important for us to understand what is the influence, how is the makif reflected in the prima. This is what depends on the whole lunch time. And he's still in the So this whole introduction of Yaakov is because